Yeah,
Good
let's
morning,
start.
friends. The topic for today's webinar is post-pandemic business opportunities for startups. This webinar is brought to you by LinkCXO, uh, which is an AI-based engagement platform meant for senior business leaders, entrepreneurs, industry experts, investors, etc., to make a meaningful and value-based connection. Now, let me introduce the eminent speakers for this webinar. We have Mr. Sanjay Jha with us. Welcome, Sanjay.
Thank you, Sanjeev.
Mr. Sanjay Jha is the Executive Director of Dale Carnegie in India, and he has a multifaceted personality. He's into lot many things, but just to name a few, he's a PhD in economics and an MBA from XLRI. He's an ex-banker and an avid sports enthusiast. Of course, himself an entrepreneur. He has also founded cricketnext.com, one of the founders of cricketnext.com. So welcome, Sanjay. We look forward to your views on the topic and any other thing that you want
Thank
to
you,
share.
sir. Thank you, Sanjeev.
Then we welcome Amitabh Kumar. Good morning and welcome, Amitabh.
Thank you. Hi, everybody.
So Amitabh again has a multi-dimensional uh, interest. He is founder of LangJobs and LangEcole Education. He is also a certified coach and a trained inspirational speaker. So Amitabh will explain what exactly he does, but this is how it is. He is also a visiting faculty with NIFT Delhi, where he primarily teaches language and other soft skills. So the structure of this event would be that Amitabh will talk about the topic first, then he will hand over to Sanjay, and then we will open for a question answer session. The speakers will talk for about 15 minutes each. Then we will have an open question answer session. So Amitabh, to put it in a perspective, we all are worried about what is happening to the economy. We were already worried and it has been aggravated by the pandemic. Now, of course, the traditional industries and many new startups also are struggling. But we all are sure and we want to know that in all this gloom, where are and there are of course, but where are those opportunities for startups in this kind of post-pandemic scenario?
Okay, thank you, Sanjeev, and thank you, Ganesh, for having me here. And thank you, everyone, for joining this call. Let me start with what are my perspective. You might have heard about many generic things. What is happening, how economy is going down, and all those things. But let me bring out some positive things here. So what I would say that whatever the situation may be, the principle remains the same. Principle, what I mean is one thing is that entrepreneurship is all about providing solution to a problem in exchange of profit. So profit is what? Profit could be either money or it could be also a happiness maybe for social projects and all social entrepreneurship. So this we need to keep in mind. So the principle remains the same whatever situation may be. There was a time when the economy was very low. There was a time where lots of other pandemics happened, but entrepreneurs survived. New startups came up and then they built up businesses. So we need to remain positive for sure. We need to always keep in mind that what we need to do, if there are more problems, there could be more solutions. That's what the startups are. That's what we entrepreneurs are, that we need to find out new solutions for that. And we need to, what those solutions are, those solutions can bring profit to your startup, your entrepreneurship, and to the society by value creation. Whether you are creating social businesses, or whether you are creating a social projects, or whether you are creating a business. Either way, you are profiting the society by creating value and yourself at the end. And the other principles also remains the same, like economic principles, demand, supply, the basic economic principles always remains the same. There will be demand at this time, there will be different kinds of demand. Obviously, at this time, you might have seen there were different businesses which had made huge profit, like the medical sectors, the education sectors. They have started innovating. Okay, so that will be there. Now, let me little bit go more specific in terms of the kind of entrepreneurship groups that I'm addressing today. So in this group, probably there are people who are already established startups. There could be people who are novice startups, and there could be people who are thinking of getting into the startups. Okay, so would be startups, right? So for established startups and novice startup, anyway, this is the time to rethink and realign ourselves. The wow moment is that, or wow thing is that for all the entrepreneurs right now, especially in the IT enabled or IT related startups. The good thing, the biggest opportunity is that we have now the wider tech-friendly customers. Customers, when I'm talking about, because I'm always talking about in the business term. So customers, when I'm talking about the population now, let's see if you're focusing India itself or global. So in India now, right now, even the children are, tech lettered now. Okay, so they are now educated to how to use Zoom, how to use Google, and even my test who is studying at the school, he sometimes teaches me some of the tools that I don't know, but he has learned from the school while he's learning. So this kind of education and this kind of widespread tech friendliness has first time happened right now, which probably would have taken next 5 years to be. Okay, so this wide range of population you're getting right now, which you can tap, so you can rethink and realign your startup, your business, with this large customer network that you'll be getting now. This is the biggest opportunity. Okay, so what will you do? You'll check on your vision. What was your vision? What is your business right now for the business? How you can tweak it a little bit based on that. What would be your mission after that? And how will you create value based on that? Okay, so the idea would be pivot. Okay, this is the one word that any startup or any entrepreneur should always learn, that we need to pivot at every situation, whether it is positive with us, whether it is negative with us. These are all situations. These are all different kinds of situations. And we need to pivot based on that to generate the value. And by doing that, creating, your own profit. This is what we need to do, right? So for all the established and the business which are right now new, the startups which are new, we need to simply go back, think, realign, think about your biggest customer base now, whom you can tap. Okay, so these are the things that we can do. Okay, I'm keeping everything short right now. If there are questions coming up, each one of them, I can take it in more detail because we have a limited time. And then let's talk about now about the new entrepreneurs who are looking at getting into entrepreneurship now. What are the sectors that they can tap on? What are the new emerging sectors or which has more business now? I would say that all the different sectors have new kind of need of new kind of thinking and innovation to bring out. Majorly, we have recent time, just last 3-4 months, we have seen health tech going up because of the situation and edtech. However, nobody has talked about fintech. We're going to see lots of depression among the people, financial depression, financial management issues and all. So wherever there is an issue, we have to find a solution. That's why we are doing a startup. That's why we are doing entrepreneurship. So Fintech has a great opportunity. Agritech. In agriculture, we have seen the supply chain issues recently. And we have, in this pandemic, you've seen how agriculture sector is something which has not stopped, right? Because that's filling up the food necessity. So there are three businesses I always talk that roti, kapda, makan related to these three things will never stop. So anything that you think around that in an innovative way, that will be anyway there. But there are other sectors also I'll talk about a little bit. There's supply chain sector. So there are lots and lots of innovation needs to be done right now. And e-commerce has already, it's booming up, but uh, what was helping during this pandemic, you might have seen that the mom and pop store, which was nearby your house. So probably around that, if somebody can do something to help them, to provide them tech support or tech-friendly startups around that. Media and entertainment has completely changed. You see the movies not on the hall, it's on Netflix now. So see what other things can be done in the media and entertainment area. There are lots of startups already happening in the area. So new entrepreneurs can think about those areas. There are lots of opportunities there. Asset management is the big thing which is coming up now. You see, the things are changing right now. Now, when I think about it, I see that there are lots of opportunities in creating a house along with a business area, maybe. Okay, so this I'm thinking you can be more innovative in this environment because right now you see companies which are basically the IT-based companies, they will be reducing their office spaces now. So and the office spaces are created now inside your house. So how you can provide probably different kinds of solutions around that, how you can start up around that. So there could be different opportunities there. There could be different and data and AI technologies. These are anyway coming up. This will not go down. The opportunities are not going down there. It will be there, and it is emerging in any way. So whosoever are doing that, there is no need to worry. Whosoever are willing to come there in that space, anyway, there are lots of opportunities that will be there. Gaming and VR will be having lots of opportunities. Now it is changing. The gaming has more become online, and VR technologies are there. So think about how to be more innovative in that, how to be more engaging in that. So think about some innovative games. What if I'm thinking about the games? There are only few games that have made impact in India. Online gamings, if you see, what the biggest game is Ludo King. We are not able to beat them till now. So and it's so old game. So we need to think about some more innovation around that. Okay, and one more thing I always talk, the unorganized sectors, which contributes about 50 to 55% of the GDP, and which is suffering right now. There is a huge problem there. How you entrepreneur, we as an entrepreneur or startups, we need to, as we are thinking to bring out solutions for the problems, we really need to think about those sectors where there is a need of support of the entrepreneurs there. And unorganized sector, if you focus on, if you can bring some kind of innovation there, it will certainly create a larger value for the big chunk of people, big number of people. It will impact lots of lives, I'm sure. So any of you want to do in that area, I would really say go ahead, check about the opportunities there. And it's a bigger area, bigger economic area that you can try to solve problem, and you can really help lots and lots of people who are currently under economic depression. Okay, so these are the major areas what I think where there are enough of opportunities, and just keep your principle right. Just keep yourself positive, and go by the basic principle of the business, and check out what you can do there. If you want to talk to me in any of the field in detail. I can probably discuss one-to-one anytime with you. Just contact me on that. And also you can check out different various reports right now, like KPMG have brought some reports if you want to check out about your business area. And there are many business, magazines like Business Insiders and all. They have also brought some of the research, and they are bringing up which field will be more, where you can do more innovation and all. And you can also check out surrounding you. What's the biggest problem? What is the problem right now? And what will be problem after 1 year, not only just now. Right now, you might be thinking about just health, education, and agriculture, food and vegetable supplies, grocery supplies. But this is just temporary. This is not just, this is not going to, be the only fields now. Things are changing already. If you go to village, when I'm in Roorkee, nothing is stopped here. Economy is running like anything. I mean, every shops are open. So if you go to the smaller places where things have already changed or the cases are less, it's already open. The market is there. So it will be there, and now more tech-friendly environment is there. You see, the biggest opportunity for all the startups is the tech-friendly, tech-lettered population now. So this is where I'll end. Thank you for listening me. I'll hand over to Sanjay Ji. Please go ahead. And
Thank you, Amitabh.
Thanks, Sanjeev. Can I start now or?
Yes, yes, sure. Just a quick take on what Amitabh was saying. Primarily, he's saying
Sure.
the basic businesses will
Sure.
remain the same. We have to find innovative ways of doing the same businesses. B, he's saying the literacy in terms of adoption of technology has automatically increased overnight. People have suddenly moved from one level to completely different level because of the need that is there to adopt technology now in view of the pandemic. Plus, he's also talking about various new industries like gaming, AI. And Amitabh and Sanjay, on this one issue, I just want to ask you whether companies would be looking to have a more flexible workforce, looking to outsource more rather than having a very heavy baggage to carry in such times.
See, as per
So outsourcing of
my
various
research
jobs.
says, many. See, I'm not going on that right now. I'm going on. I'll go to the outsourcing also, but let me first cater about what is the companies like TCS, companies like Oracle, companies like these bigger companies. What are they thinking right now? So they are also in research right now. They are seeing how the businesses are happening in the work from home environment, and many of them have already decided to reduce their workforce. Working from the office, because this will reduce lots of cost for them. Okay, except for the businesses which has lots of security issues. Most businesses, most areas of the work that it can be done from home, they will try to reduce that. They will try that even after pandemic, the work can, especially if you see if you see TCS statements recent time, you'll see that they've already announced for Infosys. If you see, they have also announced a little bit. So they're all thinking inside. And the reports that I'm getting from the other companies also, many of the companies, they have in Bangalore, especially I've seen lots of companies are already looking at reducing the workforce working from the office.
Okay.
Probably, I visualize the ITS services. At least 50% people will be working from home after this. But my guess is.
Okay. Over to you, Sanjay.
Okay, thank you very much, Sanjeev, for inviting me, and it was frankly very enlightening to kind of hear my friends speak right now. So I don't want to basically repeat what has already been mentioned, because that will be essentially a waste of time. So some of the sectors that I think Amitabh has already mentioned as future attractive options remain. But I want to basically tell everyone on the call that these are extraordinary situations. So my short point here is that you are living in remarkable circumstances. And as there's an old saying that in extraordinary circumstances, you need extraordinary solutions. Now just think about it. When we went into lockdown, the number of cases in India were around 500 to 600. And, we all were in a panic mode. And suddenly, the country came to a standstill. Today, there are 75,000 cases per day over the last couple of days, the highest in the world for a while. And guess what? We have all adapted as if it's no big deal. It's incredible. Just try and get this into your head that we were all in a panic mode when the number of cases were less than 1,000. And now when India faces 75,000 cases a day and nearly 1,000 deaths a day, everybody is like, it's no big deal. There's a lesson there. The lesson is the capacity of the human mind to adapt. And we adapt to two things. We adapt to happy circumstances. We also have an ability to adjust ourselves or reboot ourselves to difficult predicaments that we face. This is an example or a manifestation of how humanity, which is blessed with a very tough exterior, we are a lot tougher than we think we are. We are able to kind of reconfigure our realities a lot better than we had once upon a time imagined it to be. If you were told on March 24th, when the nation went into a lockdown, that India will have 75,000 cases by the month of August, you would have said, oh my God, I mean, this is going to be catastrophic. But here we are. Now, I don't want to once again, kind of repeat the obvious stuff that I think Amitabh has brilliantly articulated. But the point that I wish to make is that please remember that in management, we very often talk about creative destruction, which is like, basically forcing change, a disruptive strategy for business. COVID-19 has been what can be called as destructive disruption. It gave no one an opportunity to really be ready with a robust plan B or a plan. Obviously, those online ventures who were totally dependent on digital business, I think ballooned. So an Amazon would be a great example, as would be, obviously the Netflix and the Amazon Prime Video and Disney Hotstars of the world. So basically, as you can see, some platforms boom. Well, I mean, can you deny the fact that what Amitabh rightly mentioned, that we are in a hyper-connected world. Everybody has a mobile phone, and even in India, we've got over 350 million smartphones from what I read last. So clearly the trend is that you've got to leverage the digital opportunity. It's come in a very difficult situation, but at the end of the day, there was no other option. So whether you look at OTT platforms, I represent a training company, and I can tell you that education and learning will be one of the biggest beneficiaries of a new environment where face-to-face learning is virtually impossible, at least till the vaccine arrives. I believe health and wellness are going to be big booming sectors. You can't really ignore them at all. News is going to be big time, once again, driven by the digital consumption habits that have changed remarkably over a period of time. Amitabh mentioned about grocery and food items, online. I mean, online restaurants now don't need to create that whole physical space. There will be online deliveries. There are multiple areas that you can begin to pick and choose what comes to you naturally. I would like to basically draw your attention, however, to two realities. This based on my experience. Number one, please do not believe that the world will remain digital 100% like the way it is today, because it doesn't have the access for physical interface. I know for a fact that when the vaccine arrives and you don't need to wear a mask and worry about social distancing, I have a feeling people will flock to multiplexes. to watch even the crappiest movie, the shittiest film, because it'll just feel nice to sit with a popcorn and a cola and be with people and laugh together at the screen or cry together when we watch a very melodramatic scene. Because ultimately, man, when I say man without any gender bias, is a social animal. And we are by nature driven to be connected. And this is inborn. This is something that technology or COVID-19 cannot dramatically change forever. So while I do believe that the world will never be the same place again, because the digital will always be the fallback option for any business, because it makes smart sense. There is a younger demography in India, probably will emerge all over the world. Even the older population is now become a user of the digital platform. So can you ignore digital? Obviously not. Is it now an attractive opportunity for the conventional bricks and mortar people to leverage? Yes. Will the online players definitely balloon into bigger brands? The answer is phenomenally yes. I mean, you've seen how Alphabet or Apple, uh, Amazon, Facebooks of the world have ballooned. Microsoft, these are everybody's coming to the centi-billionaire club at the moment. People are talking a different language in the online stuff. So that's a reality. But it also opens up doors for those who were earlier not disposed to doing the online stuff. My own company, Dale Carnegie in India, is one of the innovators in this space. And we were traditionally uh, really an offline model of interface training, classroom learning. Because there are some things you can only do best when you're doing it one-on-one, face-to-face, or in groups. So for us too, the digital space is now an attractive option that we hadn't considered and will remain forever. But I do feel, and these are my 2 points that I would like to kind of explain, because Amitabh has already elucidated the rest, that there will be a bounce back to the traditional model because human beings have a tendency to reclaim lost space. So people will go back to theaters. These OTT releases won't really happen once theaters open. I don't think any big mega Hollywood or Bollywood production, unless they really have a strategy, will really ignore the multiplex model. They will go back to it. There will be low cost indie producers who might use the digital to kind of make that space. So it really does open up. Therefore, I say the world will be a different place, but the traditional will also be back. So basically, the traditional and the online will have to coexist. In what proportion? That depends upon the mix peculiar to that industry or to that business. My last 2-3 points here. That if you look at even learning, I mean, Dale Carnegie will go back to offline. I think a lot of companies that are currently doing digital with us will insist on going back and working together on offline, because they believe that's the best way that people will learn, because you hang out with people. The biggest learning happens through peer interaction. I also want to point out this factor here that end of day, whether it's learning, whether it's hanging out at a mall, it's the way that things were happening. People are buying cars online, but the old model is that you check it online, but you buy it when you go face to face. So there are many ways to do that. Or in some cases, as it happens, if the discounts are very attractive, you buy it online. So, but the two interface together. I do believe that the world will be aggressively traveling. People are saying no to travel, but once it opens up, people are going to travel aggressively. Right now, hotels are dead. People are not going to restaurants. But once it opens up, people will say, you know what, I don't want to order at home because it reminds me of the coronavirus time. There are many things people won't do on digital because it will say that is reminiscent of the horrific isolation that we all lived in for months together. So human beings have a tendency to fight it. Many people will actually maybe just hit the road, take a motorbike and just travel all over the world because they'll say, hang on, I couldn't do it. And now suddenly I'm breathing fresh air. So there is going to be a bounce back. There could even be a backlash of the traditional consumption that may challenge the digital model as well. It's an interesting time. Can anybody predict with any certitude what the future holds? No way. On January 1, 2020, all of us were dancing and drinking or whatever you were doing. But let me tell you, the truth is nobody thought of a coronavirus. It had already hit Wuhan by that time, but nobody was talking about it, right? So we live in a dynamic, uncertain world, and we need to marry our realities to that. My last line, get ready to face failure. One of the things that, entrepreneurship will teach you, you're going to fail. You're going to struggle. You'll choose a line and something dramatic will happen. My only advice to you will be, and I say this based on my personal experience, failures will teach you things, and you are going to fail. You might succeed and you might fail later. The biggest learning in life that you live in and we all live in is that it's a dramatically fast changing environment. Try to be on top of it, but you can't be on top of it all the time. It's humanly impossible. Everyone struggles with some short term disruption or even a structural damage to the area you work in. But be strong, because if you're resilient, as you have been, all of you, I'm sure, have been resilient during this time, that will be your biggest strength. So I would just kind of wrap up by saying there are many businesses that will click, like OTTs have clicked during this time. You can see how grocery sales have changed dramatically. Health products are being bought online. But I do believe that there will be a scope for everyone to take many things online. But the traditional will also bounce back. So to all of you, be resilient, be strong, and remember, things are going to change dramatically. They're talking about a vaccine by the end of the year. Trump has said it will come before the November elections. Russians have one. I don't know how reliable, but they're at it. But by the end of the year, the vaccine probably will be out. And then what makes you think that you yourself are not going to go to a restaurant to get that pizza and have it there when it's fresh and hot? What makes you think that you will not go to theater to watch the Shah Rukh Khan or an Amir Khan film? I do believe that people will want to get away from their experience of this year, and therefore the traditional will coexist with the digital. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sanjay. Like always, it is so enlightening actually to listen to you.
Thank you, Sanjeev. And great to see you at last. Huh?
Yeah, I could fix it finally. So we will open now for viewers' question. Anybody wanting to ask question to any of the panelists is most welcome to do so, or wanting to just add also to the topic.
Sanjeev, can I ask?
Sure.
I'm Sachin Agarwal. I'm an entrepreneur, and this question is to Sanjay. What could be the training opportunities with your company or in Indian economy for people who are wanting to venture into training at this point in time?
Well, I can tell you that in India, soft skills training is one of the biggest gaps in Indian industry, including for entrepreneurs. I can't comment on the technical part because everyone has their own expertise in whichever area of technical experience that they have or the qualifications they have. But frankly, right now, there are so many people who are looking at coaching, who are looking at presentations, especially in the digital environment. Definitely the good old stuff for relationship management. None of that changes dramatically. So my short answer to you will be, look at soft skills. And this is a great time to be able to actually, kind of reach out to wider masses, because you can make yourself more affordable, penetrate new markets, new companies, new clients, and see how that works. So I'm very bullish on soft skills going forward.
Thank you, Sachin.
Can I ask a very short follow-up question?
Sure. Go ahead. As long as
does your company also provide any franchise opportunity for entrepreneurs for training, or any company that you would recommend, which could provide us a platform and the system to venture into soft skill training opportunities?
I think, maybe Sanjeev, we can take this question offline, because I really can't comment on who are the others who are doing that. We actually run the entire India operations, so we don't really have a franchise model of our own. Although we are considering that at least in those states where we are not there, like Madhya Pradesh and Bihar, for example, Odisha, Telangana, there are certain, we are in 5 or 6 states, so we don't have one in Punjab or Punjab, for example, or one in Himachal. So we are willing to consider those options. So maybe those states where there is no Dale Carnegie at the moment, we might be willing to consider a franchise option. So the answer is yes and no. In the states where we are there, the answer is no. Where we aren't, we might be open to it, provided, obviously, there are some strict guidelines in terms of entrepreneurship standards. If somebody meets that, then we are willing to consider that model. Yeah.
I'll request viewers to restrict the questions to the topic for the time being.
Yeah.
We can, of course, always connect one-to-one with these people.
I have a question, sir, regarding artificial intelligence.
Yes, please.
My name is Ashish Bajaj. I'm a chartered accountant. So whenever we talk about the artificial intelligence, because most of the people are, as Mr. Amitabh said, that 55% of the entrepreneurs are really belong to MSME category. So they do not know about the AI category. So how we can educate the MSME category persons regarding AI, artificial intelligence?
Amitabh, maybe you can take that one.
Because so that they can use this in their daily lives of business.
Okay, see, they don't have to know about the AI technology. Basic thing is that the entrepreneur, the startups think about some solutions, some innovative solutions about their problem. So probably you need to go and check with what exactly are their day-to-day problems while doing business. And if you can provide a solution around that by doing some kind of AI-based innovation or something, or normal without AI also in case if you want to, because certainly this is a bigger sector, this is a very big sector, and there's a large data that you will generate by catering this population. I mean, if you want to do something. So there will be lots of data and AI-based, report generation and all those things you can do based on that. And you can further innovate to create some kind of solutions for them, which can help them, which can help this entire sector, because this is a very, very big chunk of economy. And right now they are under lots of pressure. In fact, Sanjay Ji can probably add on that, what kind of pressure they're going on. There are lots of pressure, in MSME industry is suffering for last few years, right?
Yeah. Amitabh, I'll just add quickly to that someone else, I think, put it out on a chat on the state of the economy. Well, let me tell you that the forecast is that the Indian economy will go into negative territory. And please remember one thing, the Indian economy was already in a terrible shape even before COVID-19 happened. Now the finance minister is being trolled for calling it an act of God. I think that's a little unfair. It is an act of God. It's the most unpredictable, unstable, irrational virus the world has ever seen. But it cannot be denied that the government's handling of the entire COVID-19, and I'm not trying to be political here, has been awful. And, that has only aggravated the situation. Now, when the MSME is concerned, there is no doubt about it that the demonetization of the GST was a double whammy. They never got a time to recover. Everyone has suffered. Now the large companies are bleeding and cutting down on costs. So, the MSMEs are going to be in a terrible shape. It's going to aggravate the job crisis. One of the areas I believe online, which will boom again, is jobs portals. I believe jobs where you can do reskilling, rehiring, job portals and learning and horizontal platforms of learning and jobs could really bounce back. But to answer your question on the economy, I do believe we are headed for a very slippery slope. This is going to be a tough one to climb out of. But remember that, pump priming can also work. Maybe the government needs to increase its fiscal deficit numbers, what we did in the 2008 mortgage crisis, for example. So I do feel that let the American presidential elections get over. Europe seemed to be stabilizing, has been hit again by a second resurgence of virus. But I have a feeling in the new year, the world will be a lot more stable than this crazy, turbulent madness that we have all gone through. So I remain bullish, like Amitabh has been too. And I do think that next year, economies will see a turnaround. Now, the smart economies will see a V curve. Those like India may still be on a U curve. So we'll flatten and then have a more steady upward curve. Life is a cycle. Yeah, you're going to have your up down. This is the worst. It has to get better. The question is the pace of recovery.
Adding to that, there are small ideas that I can think of right now in that these kind of industry, MSME industry that you were talking about. There are lots of skill related startup that you can do, skill related training that is not there. Many things that small. This is just a small thing. There are many other small issues that they have. small. If you just go and meet some of them, or if you're related to that industry, probably you might be understanding those problems. Problems are deep. That's why we can find out solution. That's why.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nitin Nagpal. I'm from the business team of Exit Talent. Hi, Amitabh, and hi, Sanjay. Thank you for the valuable insight. I think I have a question for Sanjay. Sanjay, so I think with respect to startups, right, we have a lot of, being a long way, right? There were a couple of investments which were planned, and the scalability was dependent on a lot of investments which were largely dependent on our dear neighbor China, right? So how do you see that roadmap of investments now during COVID and post-COVID, and what is the reaction from both the countries? How the future of startups looks like to you?
See, remember one thing, that the world is always looking at creative solutions to new opportunities. So, in short, there will be a temporary abatement where people cut down on risk. That is fine. But I don't see this remaining a situation that will persist for too long. Let me give you an example. China has been busy acquiring assets in different parts of the world because it sees an attractive valuation. Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you.
Okay. Let me start again, Nitin. The truth is that the situation doesn't remain grim permanently. This is at the moment a cutback on expenses and costs and valuations that most PE or venture capital and the others who have invested in startups will say that it's about time that I actually look at the environment and cut down and mitigate my risk. But the fact is that all economies look around for creative entrepreneurship, new business solutions to the opportunities in each and every different marketplace. So what you're going to see temporarily is that those who are very surplus in cash and have an appetite for risk will actually continue to pump in monies in those areas where they see a short-term return with a lower risk factor. You see, remember one thing, people in venture business always are looking around for a more stable return because this is a high risk business. If they get some stability, they'll buy into it. China, for instance, surely at this point of time is buying assets all over the world where they believe the valuations are very attractive because markets have shrunk and things have really gone awry. But please remember, even Indian stock markets have bounced back after seeing a terrible slump. So it tells you somewhere that investors are looking at parking capital. You have to make sure that your larger dream is not really being compromised because of the short-term business disruption that is happening. The fact is that end of day, there will be a return of investment because nobody wants to miss that opportunity when things turn around. Now, the vaccine issue is now coming closer to home. People are now beginning to psychologically expect that there will be a vaccine by December. Trump has announced it during his own campaign, Republican convention the other day. What does it tell you? It tells you that by January, the world will begin to get the confidence back that I'm going to live and life and society will be back to normal. So to answer you in short, Nitin, this is the time for all entrepreneurs. Your investor may lower your valuation to buy a bigger stake in your business. You'll have to negotiate that at your individual level. But the truth is the money is there, the capital is there. And they are going to probably pump in big monies in those businesses that do promise them attractive returns post the COVID madness that comes to an end. I really see this as a short-term disruption. Long-term, I remain very convinced that the world is going to see a more booming economy in the second half of next year.
Thank you, Sanjay. But how do you see the gateway to India from China's eyes?
See, as far as China and India are concerned, let me tell you, Nitin, what you see is a lot of political skirmishes. India is heavily dependent on Chinese imports. Okay, now all this talk about TikTok and all, forget about it. China actually has access to Paytm. Yeah, if they want Indian data, they're getting it officially. It's through so many investments. So I think this will abate. This is linked to what happened in Ladakh. As a politician, I will tell you, this is all a lot of fire and fury. India and China need to do more aggressive trading to actually reduce that political and border dispute. So I really don't see any much problem there. I ultimately feel that this will result in more, I think India becoming a lot more careful in terms of not allowing shady investors to pump money into Indian businesses. But otherwise, I see no problems at all. It will be a more transparent dealing where China-India business relationships cannot abate. At the moment, if you don't have China investing into your pharmaceuticals, India's drug prices will go through the roof. So I really don't see significant changes happening there.
Sure. Thanks, Sanjay.
Thank you. So it would typically be business as usual. That is what Sanjay is saying. That is what we all feel. Because Nitin, if you just look around, there is a lot of dispute that we are having with Pakistan, but the volume of trade is going up with them. So if China sees a lot of opportunities in investing in good startups in our company, they will do that irrespective of what is happening on the political front. If I could capture what you said, Sanjay.
Yeah, absolutely. Can we just take another couple of questions? I'll have to leave in a while
Sure,
now.
sure.
Thanks, Sanjay.
Any other question? Oh, I don't think we have.
So, hi, this is Rohan here. So just a follow-up question to what Nathan asked, where he was quite specific with regards to the Chinese investment in Indian startups. Now, rightly said, it was a pleasure hearing to Mr. Sanjay, and he mentioned that it is quite important for us to be resilient and to keep up with the upcoming times. We must look up to internal competency building, getting the right infrastructure, as well as, of course, to be visible, invest in marketing as well, to be, whether it B2B or B2C. And all of this requires funding and of course, requires finance. With banks, the risk been increased to the normal customers. And of course, like you mentioned, that there could be a bit of cautious investment by most of the, not even the angel investors, I would say, even the VCs. So don't you think that the amount of startup funding that used to happen and the kind of motivation that a lot of startups used to have would be a bit less, or would be take a back seat? And how would new entrepreneurs with the innovative ideas look up to funding and look up to the market, and how can they push themselves into the new ones?
Well, Ron, it's a temporary situation, number one. Please remember that we are all part of history. What you're witnessing is perhaps the greatest slowdown since the Great Depression of the 1930s. So this is an extraordinary time. I started by telling you that. All of us in 10 years from now, or 25, all of you will become grandparents. You will narrate this story to your grandchildren. How did we live through this time? People will say, oh my God, you stayed in a house in your own home for months. I mean, they'll say it's insane, it's crazy. So please remember, this is unusual. This is indeed, in my opinion, absolutely irrational situation that we're living in. This is not a rational world. Now, to answer your question, as I said, there is capital is not in short supply. If you look at the biggest companies in the world, they're sitting on cash. They don't know what to do. Now, all of them, when you're saying they're cutting back on expenses, means they're actually saving cash for a future investment. So I think the moment the lull changes, you may have a problem of plenty. Therefore, to all the entrepreneurs out there, use this time to actually skill yourself, skill your team, understand things that you probably did not know earlier, invest a lot of your time on learning yourself because you're getting a little bit of space, and learn to manage your business with as limited cash flow as possible. One thing which I want to end, Sanjeev, by saying is, you see, the trap which venture capital and private equity often creates is to give you a lot of cash. And then you burn, without being sometimes very diligent. Now learn to live within limited means, because when the doors open, you will be wiser enough to know, how should I invest? What is my real return? Remember, 90% of the startups fail because they burn cash and they don't know how to manage their cash flow. Forget revenue. Revenue can come in, but you don't know how to manage your cash flow. This is a great time for you to actually go back to the drawing board, be prepared. The good times will be around the corner.
Absolutely correct. Thank you so much, Sanjay. Unfortunately, we have run out of time now. And thank you, Sanjay. Thank you, Amitabh, once again. Absolutely fascinating to hear you. Just one line in the end from Gyanesh, the founder. Gyanesh, you're there?
Hi, Sanjay. Hi, Amitabh. Thank you so much for great session. It was completely insightful. And be an entrepreneur, I can understand how difficult situation we are into right now. And definitely opportunities are in line, and we will be out of this COVID situation. Even during COVID, we do see a lot of opportunities are coming in. Participants talk about AI, ML, and participants talked about many kind of opportunities in and around essential services domain or industries we are into. So I would like to conclude this session with one line of inputs about our application, that is LinkCXO. So we are live, guys, on Google Play Store, and this platform is especially for senior leaders. And vision is that bring these all senior leaders on a single platform, which is invite-based and exclusive for them. Get engaged with any kind of business opportunities, what you can generate amongst yourself, and help each other, contribute to other CXOs, and grow together. Right. So a kind of very exclusive private community of senior leaders where opportunities can be immense, and all kind of collaboration is open amongst them, and we can cut down the mass and overcrowded people on our platform. So thank you so much for the session. Thank you, Sanjeev, for hosting it, and thank you, Sanjay and Amitabh, for being host to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ganesh, Sanjeev, Amitabh. Lovely to be with this wonderful crowd, and great questions as well. Have a fantastic weekend ahead, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everybody.
Stay safe. Yeah, bye.